Hello, sir.
Hello.
Thanks a lot for coming. My name is Niranjan. So, at least the aim, at least of this podcast, is the podcast name itself is called as NMBK Talks. NMBK means generally, at least in most of the languages in South India, it means trust. My trust. And the aim of this talk is to really have more trust talk kind of a thing. What does it mean is I will not push you to the place where you don't want to go.
Perfect.
On the other hand, the aim is to really figure out whatever you want to tell, you want to hear kind of a thing. Right? That's why it's also called as NMBK Talks. So let's see. I know you from bits and pieces of it. I'm sure you don't know me. So it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Yeah. We are knowing each other now. So,
yeah. I know you in bits and pieces, maybe starting from 2015, 16-ish kind of a thing. I know you from your initial works from Pawan Prasad. Where you were doing video editing and then also supporting him in his shows and stuff like that.
Right.
He is definitely a candidate for podcast for me. But he's a very busy guy, which is impossible for. I mean, it was very impossible. I was one of his candidates who was staying in his house. At least I stayed for 3 or 4 days in his apartment. So, but he's somehow he was busy guy then.
He's still busy.
Yeah, so I'm sure it will be very difficult to catch him up, which I'm pulling again and again. Maybe you can.
I can pull the strings.
Yeah, I'm very much interested. But yes, at least I've been consistently seeing bits and pieces of your work, your camera work, and thank you for lighting. So, bits and pieces of your work and how you have evolved also in your editing, camera skills, and then at least I saw your first shots of videos and then the dance videos and things like that. I mean, in Munich, which you did, which also saw that. And then I hear also the stories of starting your own photography work. Organizations.
Mostly it has evolved. So I started off from photography, went to videography, from there events, and now more into this social and integration.
Social organization building, at least standing.
Community building, you may say.
Yes, significantly one of the pillars of Erlangen, so to say.
Thank you.
Also an entrepreneur.
Kind of, yeah.
I would want to know the journey. That's why we are here, by the way.
Yeah. So the journey, actually, this entrepreneur journey started.
We will start from basics, right? That's the
Okay. Let's go there then. So, hi everyone. So I'm Dipankar. I'm born and brought up in Calcutta from a very middle class family, like everybody has back there. My parents really forced themselves to, to put me into very good education, where.
If I can ask, when were you born?
I was born in 1985, so I just recently turned 40 this January.
Very good, nice. What is the new beginning?
It's the new 20s.
Yes.
So still young at heart. So yeah, I'm born in Calcutta, brought up there. My schooling was done there.
You studied completely in Calcutta?
I studied completely in Calcutta. So as I was saying that. We were not very well off, you may say. My father was into business, he was struggling with his health, they had issues, but they really stretched themselves to, put me into very good education, and later my younger brother as well. I have a younger brother. He's also an engineer, he is in India back then, taking care of my parents. I do it from here, how much as possible. So I did my schooling there, so I had a really, really good school life. So the friends that I had met then are still my friends today and are still my best friends. We're still connected. And it's not like that I talk to them every day, every week, every month, or even a year.
But you know that you're all in sync.
Yeah, I mean, even after 2 years, if I just, send a message or give somebody a call and say, hey, how are you doing? It's like we just pick it up from where we last left.
Yeah.
So that's how it has been. And I'm, to be honest, very fortunate to have very good parents. And after my parents, I had really good friends throughout my life, even today. And later, I have a very good family. I have a good wife who is always supporting. And I have a son who is really understanding as well at the same time. We are still teaching him. We'll go there later maybe. It's not too...
So
not
you,
too soon, yeah.
you studied in Calcutta till 10th?
Till 12th.
12th.
So in the same school.
The same school.
I was put into an English medium school, which was...
Is it at least Calcutta is a metropolitan or first metropolitan city?
Yeah.
Right? There is also a Bengali kind of a school and English kind of?
Yeah, there were 3 different kind of schoolings. In fact, 4. So there were government schools which were always Bengali, English being the second language. Then there was West Bengal board schools which were private as well, but they would be teaching in Bengali, so that is the medium.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have second language and third language as English and Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were ICSE board schools and CBSE board schools.
Mm-hmm.
And they were English medium. And there were some which were also Hindi medium.
Mm-hmm.
So
ICSE, Hindi.
ICSE was always English medium, but CBSE they had Hindi medium as well. So the primary language was Hindi, and then you have English, and then Bengali as a third language for them. For me, I was put into a St. Xavier's institution, so it's a good school. Right now, this school speaks for itself. It's the best school for the last 2-3 years in the East Zone, not just in Calcutta or in Bengal. So it has been chosen one of the best schools, and I was put there. And Hindi, again, I learned Hindi from school.
So your first language was English?
First language was English, then Bengali. I was always very poor with spellings in Bengali. I can speak, I can understand. I mean, it's my mother tongue. So very comfortable with Bengali.
It's the same thing with me, with Canada.
But whenever I used to get my mark sheets back from school for my Bengali exams that I had taken, the teachers always used to write learn spellings in bold and in red. I used to get good marks, but still my spellings were horrible, even today. So that's how my schooling went, and that's where I met my first friends, and they're still my friends, and we're still continuing.
In the 11th and 12th, do you have a similar option of, because at least in Bangalore, right, there is this option of choosing a science or because at least if you are in ICSE, you have the subject choices.
Correct.
But if you are in the state board, so-called in Bangalore, they have this selection of only science and commerce and things like this.
Right. We had a division after class 8, so from 9th standard. That is the time when you start preparing for your boards, ICSE. At that point, they divide the classes into 2 parts, science and commerce, until 10th. So you give your board exams based on the subjects that you have chosen, either science subjects or commerce subjects. And from 11th, it again changes one more. So one more gets added, which is arts. And then you have this bifurcation of 3, science, commerce and arts.
I'm assuming that
I was into science. I was into science, so from 11th onwards, you have an elective on computer science and biology. So I chose computer science.
What was the natural choice? Because of the job, or is it?
It was not of the job. I was really fascinated with programming and stuff. I still do it for a hobby sometimes. I stay up to date with the technology even today. I kind of like that field. And biology was not really my cup of tea. I mean, I always found it very hard. I'm saying this on camera, but my wife is a doctor.
Okay.
So biology was always very hard for me, and computer science came very easy for me. So that was a very natural and obvious choice. I did not think about any job or future that back then. I mean, it only started kicking in when I was already through half of the period of 12th. That okay, after this I have to get into engineering to get a job and blah blah blah, this stuff. So school life, as I said, we did not care enough for life. We just had fun. It was amazing.
And the system of uniform,
it was there.
Blazer, tie, coat,
everything was there.
It's also a thing that your shoes has to be polished every day.
Every day the shoes have to be polished. So the school started like this. Okay, so we go to the school. We keep our bags in our classroom. Everybody had their own designated classrooms, also benches sometimes, and sometimes teachers would shuffle them. But okay.
And you had a choice of co-sitting with girls, or is it only boys and girls?
It was so I was in a COVID school. There was no such rules, but girls made their rules, so boys did too.
Okay.
So that's how it happened. And
no, I mean, was it a punishment for you to tell if you don't behave, I'm going to sit?
No, it was never like that. I mean, our teachers, to be honest, were very open, and they taught us the right way. That okay, there is no difference between girls and boys. You all are equal. So that's a really good learning that I got at the very early stages of my life, and that helped. And I don't differentiate between. I won't say that I'm a hardcore feminist, but I do believe in equality. So
no, the question comes in also because Kolkata, at least as a historical background, comes with a lot of
open-mindedness and liberal.
Yes, and it has contributions of so at least for Indian independence. I'm just curious about how was it impacted passively, actively in your upbringing. Maybe we have to continue this in the next segment.
We can do that. We can do that. We can do that. But we can take it up in the next segment.
Yeah.